What's up, everyone? It's Rory from In the Shadows. Today is episode 15. We're really excited to share our guests with you for what we've got coming. And we're going to talk about the pressures of life, with the stresses of life. We're going to bring up points on banter and the footballing world as well. So if you're not into football, it's going to be definitely applicable to your life as a fella. So just bear with us. But before we introduce our guests, I want to say to you guys, as always, as I do every single week, it means so much to us, all of our followers and subscribers. But if you're watching this right now and you've not subscribed to Enlighten the Shadows, coming up on the screen right now is that big red button. And just below this video, you'll see, and it says subscribe. So if you can do that for us, press pause on this video and subscribe to the journey we're going on. Sadly, the ONS just released this past week statistics that say over 4,303 blokes have committed suicide. It's gone up over 200, and we are just devastated, and it breaks our heart to know that fellas are struggling in the shadows, and you know that's their option and they take that. And also it's World Suicide Prevention Week, and so check our social media. The handle's coming up right now. It's at Enlighten the SH1. That's Twitter and Insta, so check them out because we've done some solid posts, and our man Paolo Piliero has been smashing it and slowly getting those followers in. So yeah, we want to say big up Paolo, nice one, bud. Without further ado though, our guest today is a bit of a powerhouse in the footballing world, if you won't mind me saying, but we have invited Leeds United first team goalkeeper assistant coach, Alessandro Barcherini, and he's a bit of a contact, he's a friend of a friend, but we're really grateful that he's come on today's show for episode 15. So yeah, I want to say, we'll call him Ali. So Ali, how you doing, fella?
I'm alright, Roy. All good, mate. All good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, nice one, mate. I really appreciate you coming on, and looking forward to having a good chat for the next 45 minutes or so, potentially. But yeah, I just wanted to say to you, like, you work for my club, my team, and I know I don't want to cringe you out too much because I know it's your everyday office life, and you've probably just kind of like chilled about it. But all I want to say is, not the muscles. We're talking about this bad boy here.
Looks lovely, doesn't it, that?
Mate, I'll tell you, I'm 32 now, and I've waited 16 years of my life for this, so I'm absolutely freaking buzzing, mate, and I can't wait for, oh shoot, it's tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Leeds are going to play at Anfield, first game of the season. Before we move on to our chat about mental health, just very quickly, what's your score prediction, mate?
Score prediction. Oh, well.
Clean sheet for us, yeah.
Do you know what? I'm hoping that it's always the case in it when a team gets promoted from the champ and goes into the Prem, and you know, you look at all the bookies and that, and you're looking at the odds on who's going to stay up, and there's just something about that Leeds United badge that just looks very at home in the Premier League, doesn't it?
Yes, mate.
We're not a small club. I'm hoping we can get a positive result tomorrow, is what I'll say.
I'm excited for the boys. I'm not, like, I can get dead nervous with Leeds at times, but I'm not nervous. I'm just proper excited for them. And I think we're going to surprise people this year. And I'm not being goggled-eyed like Leeds fan or biased, but I think our football's going to scare people. And I think Liverpool are going to have a little bit of a rude awakening. I might eat my words next episode, for episode 16, but I'm holding my own. And I'm going to say 1-1.
Oh, fingers crossed. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? If you take a point now, wouldn't you? Coming away from on the first day. So
we'll see all your hard work, bro, whether it's our boy Melier or Kiko starting. But whatever they do, we wish them all the best, boys. So come on, lads. But anyway, we won't bore anyone because there might be people on here, A, not too much into football, and B, but they're like, oh, freaking dirty Leeds, so I can't be doing with it. So we'll move on, on a little bit. But I just want to hear about your background, mate, because we don't know each other hardly at all. And I kind of like that because it brings a fresh vibe to the conversation where, like, we're not going over stuff we already know. But I was doing a little bit of snooping on you. So I'm aware that you've got a strong footballing background and you've come through the ranks. Can you just like give our viewers just a short snippet of the journey of your life of how you've ended up pretty much, without giving you a big head, but you've made it big time. You're working in a Premier League club, which will hold a lot of life stresses and pressures that people will relate to potentially later on. So, yeah.
Yeah, so at the very beginning, I mean, my family moved to England when I was a kid. When I was 5 years old, my family up sticks and left Italy and came to the UK, and to live in Nottingham, of all places. And then um, from there, I just sort of started playing football as a kid, and then you sort of represent, ended up playing for the county and all that. And then I actually signed for Leeds United at under 14s and then got released.
Yeah.
Signed for Notts County as an under 15, got a scholarship, did a scholar. Towards the back end of that scholarship, broke into the first team squad, never made an appearance, then got released at 19, went over to the States and played 3 years in the US, came back and just floated around like non-league really. So
yeah,
once I realised, like to make it as a pro, I'd got to 23, 24, and I wasn't in full-time football anymore. I was in part-time football, and I went to uni, did a degree in sports science. Like, if you'd have known me as a kid and through school, you'd have gone, "How the hell is this kid gone to uni?" But I've ended up like doing an undergrad and then a master's degree, and then just started coaching really towards my late 20s while still playing non-league. I was playing for Baseford United and like Town and teams like that, and just sort of started coaching. I never really thought I was going to coach. I thought I was going to be a PE teacher or something like that, and then I thought, I really enjoy this, and I feel like I'm all right at it. And then next thing, I started doing some part-time coaching with Notts County. Then they offered me a full-time role, and I was like, at the time, I was working for Nottingham Trent Uni, running up the football program there, and Notts County offered me a full-time contract to go and work with the academy, working with the under-18s, and so I did that, and then just went from that. It was only 2016, 2017.
All right, okay.
So
recent, yeah.
In terms of like being a professional coach, it's only recently been a thing for me. Like, it's, before that, I think back to 6-7 years ago, and I was coaching like year 3 and year 4 PE, at Forest Field School, in Notts. So it's just been a mad sort of 6-7 years, and now I'm at Leeds United via a brief stint at Norwich and a season with Stoke City, and now I'm here. So it's just been mad really.
That's class, mate. I think we might have crossed paths because we've got a lot in common, believe it or not. So I went to America on a soccer scholarship myself. I was in North Carolina. Then you mentioned you was at Nottingham Trent University. I used to play for San Diego Town in the NSL Prem, and I know that we played Nottingham Trent Uni for a season. And I feel like you might have been head coach that day. I don't know. I feel like I recognise you from that.
Possibly I might have been there. We just entered the team just to try it out for a season, but because I was obviously my experience with Notts County at the time.
I think we might have crossed paths, and then I was physio apprentice for John Wilson at County.
No way. Yeah, maybe we'd have definitely met there.
Yeah, I was there for a few months, but he couldn't give me a job because Martin Allen, Mad Dog. He was there, and he couldn't officially pay me, but he was like sponging all my knowledge from all the physio stuff I did in America.
Oh,
yeah. Top boy, John Wilson.
Small world. Yeah, he's a good man.
Yes, mate. So I feel like we've crossed paths without knowing it, but we have now. But yeah, man, thanks for sharing the viewers like your background, because it's always good for them to have a little bit of an understanding of like, well, who's this cat? Where's he come from? What? So, mate, nice little CV you got going. Done well for yourself, bud. But yeah, what I wanted to speak to you about, you're like in amongst some top professionals, and without hyping it too much, because it can get in your head a little bit. And like, I know when I was in the States, like the pressure of the environment was quite intense. Like, I freaking love football and it's my life and everything. But when I went out there, it was just a whole nother level of intensity, and like you train every day and it can be quite full on. So what is it like in your realm in terms of like the pressures? Because, people go, oh, well, he's a Leeds coach, I can't relate to that. But I know there's people watching that can get quite bogged down at work. And I know that obviously we both love Leeds and we respect them. But what is it like being in that environment with the stresses of like professional players? There's a lot on the line. Yeah.
It's I think it's a unique environment in the sense that we're very, very fortunate to be able to do what we do. We get to kick a ball around for a living, so to speak, and a lot of people would kill to be able to do that as a job. With that comes, like you say, a lot of pressure. And as a coach, I feel like the manager is under extreme pressure, because ultimately, like in any business, he's there to deliver results. And if you don't get them, in sort of the real world, you get performance managed, don't you? And you sort of hopefully get a bit of guidance, or if you're in a real cutthroat business, then maybe you get the boot. I think the difference in football is you get the boot with 60, 70,000 people all booing you. And that's, that's the difference, I think, in football compared to in normal everyday business. It's that it's got such a big following, and now it's so accessible that everyone makes their voice heard, and sometimes it's really horrible.
Leeds fans are all right, mate. Never like
that. whether it's Leeds, or whether it's Crystal Palace, or whether it's Watford, or it's football. It's got such a big following, and I think because football fans are so passionate, and it's brilliant, and it's even more brilliant when things go well. But when things go bad, fans love their club and they love their badge so much that passion boils over a little bit sometimes, and things can get personal. And that's where I think you got to draw the line. Like, at the end of the day, you're a human being who's doing their job, or trying to do their job.
The
difference in football is you're in front of millions of viewers on the telly and 60,000 fans in a stadium. It's not necessarily a normal environment to operate in. If you think about how we're like hardwired, it's intimidating. It's tough. And
definitely.
And day to day, that can tell. I think at Leeds, where I work now, we've got a really, really good set of lads who all look after each other, and it's, as far as dressing rooms go, I think it's one of the best I've ever seen, and everyone looks after each other, and it's great. But you never know, like, how someone's really feeling. You can put your arm around someone, and that might feel good, and then you go home, and then it's just you read something on Twitter and it's negative, and it's like, sometimes I think for a footballer, sometimes it doesn't stop. You know what I mean? I think you can have a bad day at work, go home to your family and get a bit of respite and a bit of a relief, whereas sometimes in the football industry you don't get that. You turn the telly on and Sky Sports News is on, and you know what I mean, and you check your Twitter and someone's hammering you. Like, it's for players more so than coaches. But
absolutely. I guess like that pressure can filter through for you. Like, it's not like everyone here who's got work knows this. Like, it all funnels down eventually. Like, I'd call you like a foot soldier technically. Like, you're not Bielsa, and you're not the player, but I'd say along with the players in a way, you're like a foot soldier. And I always say in employment, freaking always look after your foot soldiers and always check how they're doing, because they're the cogs of the machine that keeps things going. And what I will ask you is about what you do to cope, because like I know people who struggle at work, and they may or may not at times get that full support, and you see it, like they kind of like start moaning, and then they like become complacent in their job, and then they start resenting their job. And this is all related to mental health, is all related to living in the now, mindfulness. But is there anything that you could enlighten our viewers with about, based on like the high Leeds United's class, and I'm sure, as you say, it's a buzz and it's an honour, but that high pressure environment must bring some puts your back against the wall in a way where you've got to come up with some strategies to stay disciplined like with your mindset? Is there anything that you're mindful of even now as we're chatting about what you do to stay at that good level of flow, if you like, and to not let the strain or pressures of working at like a top English football club?
Yeah, I think it's really like quite relevant, to be honest. Like, it's like you say, in any job, there's things about it that you like and there's things that you dislike, and I just try and always go like the old saying of like, control the controllables, because if there's something happening at work that I don't like or makes me feel bad, but it's out of my control, there's not a lot I can do about it, and just sort of accept it almost. If I feel I can affect something, I'll try and affect it. And then away from that, like, because it's so full on, and we work really long hours at Leeds. Like today, a bit of an earlier finish just because the lads have gone to play Liverpool and we got away a bit early from the training ground. But I think for me, my family are important. I live here on my own. I'm single.
You're single? Oh, brother, come on.
It's a little cheeky plug there.
Ladies, Leeds fans, ladies, anyone? No, come on, mate. You're a good-looking guy. Hey,
thank you.
At least you didn't marry the wrong one. Still on the mark, top man.
I won't talk about that one.
No, very briefly, let me encourage you before we park at the point we're making about the pressures and your mindsets. I was engaged 3 times. It took me the third go. My current wife, Charisse, and my only wife, for the record, wonderful woman, love her to pieces, but mate, it was the third one. So all my boys, and we'll get onto this point later in banter, they call me like Master Frodo, Lord of the Rings, because of 3 rings. And I'm okay with it because I laugh with them, and I've told my new workmates it, so it's cool. But yeah, man, so there is hope. Let me tell you, viewers watching, Ali, mate, there is hope. Don't rush into something that's toxic potentially. Have high standards, but don't be too picky that by the time you're 80, you're single.
I think my first love's definitely the game. So like it's sometimes it can be a bit like you're full on at work and you come back and it's like it's 4 walls and I'm on my own. So one thing I've got is me and my brother are really close. He lives in Manchester.
Oh, Sam.
Red Rose. So we FaceTime like every night. I speak with my little nephews too, and it's like my family sort of know that I don't like to talk about my job with them. They're my family. I love them, and I want to, I don't want to bring what I do for a living into those conversations because, we are the odd time we will, but ultimately, like, I'll just become engrossed by it all, and the industry I work in can really consume you. And if anyone listening can relate to that, but when you throw yourself into your work and that's everything that you do, you do need a release from it. And mine is, I'm lucky enough that I've got a really good family that I can just pick up the phone and we have a FaceTime, and rather than jump on social media or watch Netflix, I'll ring my brother and I'll have a chat with him on FaceTime and ask him how his day was, and just catch up and that sort of stuff. And then I suppose for me, like, even as soon as I get in the car to come home, it's the way I've sort of talked myself into it is being in the car on the way to work and my last few moments of me time before I know I'm going to have like a really intense day. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Mm-hmm. And then getting in the car to come home is my trigger to switch off, shut the car door, and I don't want to talk about work. Not because I don't enjoy it, but because I want to enjoy it. When I'm at work, I want it to be time for work. And when I get in the car, I want it to be time for me. And, at the minute, like I say, like I don't have the extra stresses of a family or kids, or do you know what I mean? So like, that kind of works for me.
Mate, I'm loving where this is going actually, because this is something completely relatable for people who are in employment, and and our hearts and thoughts go into the people right now with all the COVID and destruction. You know, I was waiting for my new job to start for many months, so I relate to the struggle. But a lot of people are in employment, and you know, let's not go, oh, Ali's bashing about Leeds, I can't relate to it. No. Like, lean in and listen to what he's saying, because he's completely like smashing it about work-life balance right now. And it's very important that the mechanism he's using, that you even like give him a go, because as he said, as soon as like that car journey begins at the start of the day, you know, or ends afterwards, like, you know, work's finished. And I know for a fact as well, speaking to the viewers and you, Ali, mate, I know for a fact that when you're like at the pub or you chat to family, the first thing that usually comes up, and you just can't help yourselves from talking about, is work or stuff that's happened at work. It always comes up all the time. And, you know, I always have to try and pinch myself at times and go, no, I don't want to do it. Because the jobs I've done, you know, I've worked with kids in care, children that got emotional behavioural issues. Like, I'm talking like kick-offs, absconds, physical violence, everything, you name it. And so it has a weight on you, like you were saying, that it has that burden, that stress. It's not unhealthy, because I'm passionate, I love supporting people like you do, bringing out the best out of our keepers at Leeds. But yeah, it's just so important that we don't get obsessed and consumed, because I reckon our mental health will become like lowered, essentially, because your relationships then fall as a result. All the things that you do to rest, it's fall at the wayside, isn't it? So like, you kind of, yeah, you become unrelatable. I'm all for that, man.
It's 100% that. And I think if you can, for me personally, if I, aside from the car journey stuff, is just chucking in exercise. That's something I've always done. And I know that if I've had not such a good day, I've got like, I know exactly what routine to do if I've not had it. Like, I'm straight on the punch bag, like,
okay,
just to release some tension or to release some anger. I'll get the gloves on and just have a little 30-minute hit on the heavy bag, and it works for me.
That's class, mate.
A lot. And I think, like, I don't know, like, I went through probably just before I moved to Leeds. I think, you know, when you talk about, I don't think I've ever struggled with mental health, and I say that because when I say I don't think I have, I went through my divorce, like, I split with my wife 2 years ago, and then obviously went through divorce, and it came through last year. But when I left, I was working for Stoke City at the time, and I just found myself like doing as much as I could, and sort of like flogging myself a little bit. I was like exercising all the time, work, exercise, and then I got in great shape, and it worked as a bit of a mask. I think, like, and it was only like one of my mates actually said, like, look, you know, you've just got to go through it, like, stop flogging yourself and just feel it. Like, and sometimes and it was really good advice actually. Things like that aren't very nice to deal with.
No, mate, no.
But you've got to go through it, and it's knowing that you're going. It's almost like the awareness of, I'm going through this right now, and it's not meant to feel nice. Rather than, why am I feeling like this? Or actually, no, I'm feeling like this because this is what's happened, and this is my response to it. And having the awareness to know that I'm not feeling good.
Yeah, man.
And it really helped, actually. Like, and that's why I say I don't think I've ever had any problems with mental health, but I could definitely see at that moment when I came out of that, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm very no nonsense and very black and white. But at that point, I was like, I could see how this would eat someone alive. Like, it was, I was lucky I had a good network around me of people
That's brilliant.
who cared about me. Do you know what I mean? And some people don't have that. I think, yeah, that'd be my thing, is just having that awareness of, it's okay not to feel good.
Yeah,
like,
man.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just normal.
Oh, man, thank you, bro, for opening up about that and sharing that. That's freaking massive. And you know, there might be people who are watching who have, you know, had a marriage, going through a separation or a rocky time, or even, you know, got to a divorce stage. You know, this is life. This is what happens. You know, crap comes, things don't work out, and that's the way it is. We can't control the past, But as you say, amazingly to our viewers, like it's about that, there's something called metacognition. So it's about you being mindful of your emotions, mindful of situations, relationship scenarios. And, you know, the fact that you didn't do, sadly, what us fellas are quite good at, that we need to get better at, is not acknowledging it. And when I set up Enlighten the Shadows a few months ago, I came up with an acronym called ACT. So it's ACT. So I'll put it on the screen for people. So A is for acknowledge. So it's actually exactly what you said, Ali. Like you, at first you didn't, like you were smashing out, working out and just consuming your life to actually block it out as a mechanism to help kind of like stay away from that pain. Because again, that's what us fellas do. We get uptight. We're like, no, man, I'm good. I don't, you know, I'll get through this. But you're not actually like walking through it. You're avoiding it. So, you know, that is acknowledge, and C is to comprehend. So, you know, in life, we'll never, ever fully work things out 100% at times. But what we can do is have a think about it, process the feelings involved, think about some strategies moving forward and comprehend what we're going to do. And then T is take action or take ownership. So it's actually following through with that plan, saying, right, this is what I need to do. I feel crap. This is tough. Right, I've parked it, but now this is my plan and I need to stick with it. And, you know, so I just want to say thank you, bro. That's class that you shared that. And I think a lot of people, hopefully, if they didn't get too turned off with Leeds, would have really been thankful for that. And I think they can relate to that. So, yeah, man. I think what you said was there's a term called catharsis. You're probably aware of it from sports medicine and that. But catharsis is that release that the body gets from physical exertion. So we want to say to people, like, you know, I hate the gym, but I've got myself down Pure Gym recently. So I'm trying, you know, and Ali's saying smash up some pads, and that's definitely good for fellas. So if you're from Nottingham, we want to promote and big up just quickly Rebels Gym. Rebels Gym, we've just come in partnership. We're going to have some chat men's sessions on Sundays coming up in the near future. So they're an amazing boxing, weightlifting gym based in Radford in Nottingham. So we'll put them on the screen right now for you. Check them out. Kev, the guy who runs the gaff, is the top bloke. And he's so on a level, like he'll make you feel welcome, and you can come up to him and talk about anything, and he's very knowledgeable. So yeah, watch out for that, fellas. And we're going to call it Enlisted. It's the first time. So I want to say to you, Ali, yeah, we've come up with the name Enlisted because, like, with you know, Band of Brothers and military, you say, right, I'm signing up, but together in numbers we're better. It's going to be quite daunting, but I'm here and I'm putting my stake in. So yeah, that's what the name we've come up with. It.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah, man, we're looking forward to it. Just getting real and chatting and creating that environment. Because if we don't, we'll have sad cases, as you can see just behind me. Gary Speed, the late Gary Speed, and I don't know if you'll know this, Ali, but he passed away. He committed suicide in November 2011, I believe. And that week, Leeds played at Forest, and I was in the ground. I was in the Leeds end, and we won like 4-0 or something. And we sang his song and his name on the 11th minute for his squad number for 11 minutes. And just as the 11 minutes finished, like, we scored. So,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just written in the stars. But what I want to ask you about that is, what can we learn from just what happened with Gary Speed? And it just, you know, we don't have to make it Leeds United or football related, like just generally as fellas and our mindfulness and mental health. What can we just learn from cases like Gary Speed, where you think, well, he seemed all right. He seemed like he had it together. You know, he had a missus, and Wales manager at the time. Is there anything you can enlighten our viewers with, Bud?
Yeah, I think like we're going through a time where obviously society has changed a lot. I mean, I think if you think about, I always think about my upbringing and compare it to how, like, my brother who's 29 brings up his kid, and I'm like, well, it was no nonsense back then. Like, it was almost like the old stereotypical, like, men do this, women do this. If you're a man, you got to provide. If you're, you know, as a kid, if you stepped out of line, you got to clip round your ear, or you know what I mean, like, and that was the sort of basis of your upbringing. And then you bring it to like modern day, and it's become very, very liberal. And I think lends itself better to supporting people in vulnerable positions and mind states. So I think without like, I think generally we're moving towards a society that does want to help and be around each other. And then sort of amongst that, you've probably got still obviously unfortunate cases of people taking their lives too soon. And I don't know, like I think about the Gary Speed one, and obviously it's happened, or there's been attempts from other sports people to do the same, and it's like, I don't know, like, honestly, other than just being good to each other, I don't know what else you can do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like for me it's really simple. Like, you could just be good to people. Like, and why wouldn't you be good to people? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I find it really hard to understand that side of it, where like people want to like make other people feel bad. Like, really? Like, why do they want to do that? Like, I don't know. In my head, it's very simple. Just be good to people. Like, and hopefully they'll be all right. I don't know if that makes sense or if it's almost too simple.
No,
Like,
it's not. Sometimes in life, like the profound things are the simple things. And, you know, you say, why won't people do that? I think maybe it's likely a lot of those people who give out the aggro are miserable themselves. And the only boost or the only forms of communication or treatment or love they know is by just giving bare abuse. So they're like, oh yeah, just sticking it on people. So then they get that little adrenaline rush almost and get some kind of value out of it, as backward as it sounds, and not to excuse it by any means, but I think that's usually the case, sadly. But yeah, I think we've got a lot to learn still as a society and working together. There's a lot of tribalistic behaviour. The world's gone crazy, as you see the stuff on the news, and we don't need to get into that. It speaks for itself. We've got to stick together a lot more for sure. But yeah, the Gary Speed thing, man, it's just fascinating because other than his wife Louise, like no one had a flipping clue, like other than the letter he wrote when he was a 19-year-old to her, as indication. And I can't wait because I'm gonna buy his book when I go on holiday soon. I'm gonna read it and really get an insight to what happened there, because my heart, as you say, like we've got to primarily do what you said always, and I think that's important. But I think there's a part of us that we've got to get like kind of like deeper. I don't know what your thoughts on that, like rather than the superficial things of life. Like, you know, you at Leeds, you could turn up to work, check in, yeah, I'm sound, yeah, I'm all right, but like, are you though? Like, if like you said with your divorce, not to keep bringing it up, but like, you know, you got to a stage where you acknowledged it, and thankfully you had those people around you. I don't know, like some people maybe feel that they don't.
Yeah, and definitely that. I think like if you take some time to, like, if you're having a conversation like with someone, I don't know, like whether it's at work, like you'll have work colleagues that you get to know well, right? And you generally know, once you get to know your work colleagues, if they're having a good day or a bad day. And I think what happens is you get so consumed with yourself at work that even though you know they're not having a good day, you don't actually like give them any comfort. And it might just be exactly that is what they need. I've been guilty of it. I think you know, like, because it's a stressful environment to work in. Like, there's days where I'm stressed, but my work colleague, I know he's not having a good day, and I've just thought about myself. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't actually take much to go, you're right.
Yeah, you're
Having
right.
a conversation off the back of it. It's not. Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes we get so, like I said before, so consumed with ourselves and our own work that we don't take the time to check in on someone else.
Yeah, man, that's massive.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like real life when it happens at work, like, and I'm sure again, in not just in any industry you can find it.
Yeah, man.
Like, my mum's a healthcare, like a healthcare assistant in a doctor's surgery, and it's hectic, like working in a GP surgery, you know, like appointments and admin and, you know, sick people, and you know, it's 100 miles an hour for her.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not just football, like you say. It's every industry where you just get consumed by it. Actually, 2 minutes out of your day just to check in on someone ain't a lot.
Yeah, it's true. What you just brought something to my mind. Do you know? And I think this might be the problem too. If someone is struggling and you don't fully know, right, that they are struggling, but you can tell something's not right, and you go, "Oh, you're right, mate," and they go, "Yeah, yeah." And then what we usually do, because we don't like to like encroach, or I guess it's like a British thing, but we don't want to like push it or pre. We just like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." No, they said they're all right, and then we leave it at that. But actually, I don't know. Like I heard something the other day. It was on the radio that I'm going to try and bring on my show. And she said sadly lost her husband to suicide, and she had no idea like he was down or anything, genuinely, and they were happily married and everything. So it was a big shock. But she was stating that when we ask someone if they're all right, we need to like really ask them or ask them again. So we do give them that space to maybe like open up if they feel like they don't want to. Because I know, what are your thoughts? Like, we're quite British. We go, yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. And I think that comes with a little bit of from person to person, obviously, we differ, don't we, in personality. So, like,
Yeah.
you know, you get people who are generally a little bit more quiet, you get people who are a bit more loud, and it's just doing it in a way that fits, I suppose. Like, I'm the kind of person who, if I ask that question to someone and they tell me that they're all right and I don't think they are, I'll be like, no, come on, tell me what's wrong. Whereas, you know, that's just I'm quite upfront and bulky with it. But like, someone might not have the confidence to do it that way. You know, you can still, I don't know, like there's other ways around it, isn't there? Like, it might just be something as small as making them a cup of tea. Like, it could be anything. It could be anything. It's just it's like you say, when you don't really know, and like with the Gary Speed one, people didn't know. They just didn't know. And so it's hard to say like what could have made that story different. If people didn't know, like day to day in his life, he on the surface was okay, then, you know, something's gone wrong somewhere, like for him to feel that way. And your mind is a crazy place, isn't it? Like,
Can be.
we all talk to ourselves. Like, I do it every day.
Yeah.
Like, in the car, when I get home, like I'm constantly like, you know, you have those conversations with yourself. And I think when you do that, for as much as you can try and make those conversations positive rather than negative, it's too easy. It's too easy to be negative. It takes more energy if you're not feeling good to try and feel good. So
That's
like,
brilliant.
Like, I think if you just got to give it everything you've got almost when you're down there. I think that will be kind of how I look at it, I think.
Yeah, I'm loving what you're saying right at the end there. Like, we got to just keep on going. Like, I feel like it's a balance, isn't it? Like, we've got to be real where we're at. We've got to kind of encourage these environments and places and relationships where we can freaking brutally be honest and say like how shocking we might be feeling, but not make it so shocking and make them feel bad about it. But then it's like kind of like, yeah, that this is real, but you know, what can we do to get you back up there? And it's like the little things can give them that boost. And yeah, we just need to keep inspiring people. I listened to a quick 9-minute video in the gym the other day by Jock Willen. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a former like Marine guy. He's an inspirational speaker. But Jock Willen, he was like saying, you just like got to keep going, and you need to keep walking through the storm. You need to keep walking through the storm, and then the sun will come out. And it's quite metaphorical and deep, but you know, some people just feel like they can't do it anymore. Some people feel like, oh, I need to end it and all this, like as we sadly talked about with Speedo. But yeah, I just think it's a balance. We've really, really got to inspire blokes to just keep freaking going, keep looking out for one another. And then, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say that I had an old football coach, in fact, that when I played non-league football, me and Paolo played for a manager called Tommy Brookbanks. I don't know if you might have heard of him, but he was at Carlton Town. And I remember actually, at the time, I didn't think much of it, but he always used to say, good times are always just around the corner. And at the time, he said it after, I think we played bad and we lost. But I took it with me. I'm like, it's true. Like, you can think of any point in your life when you're not feeling great, and I guarantee it might not happen the next day. It might take a week. It might take 2 weeks, but something good will happen. And it's like, I kind of always tell myself that when I'm not having a good day. I'm like, good times are always just around the corner. In whatever way that comes, whether that's a day with your family, whether that's a phone call, whether that's, you get a pay rise at work, or whether, do you know what I mean? Like, I think we've got to do more to embrace when things are going well as well.
Oh, come on. You read my thoughts.
Yeah.
Love it. That was literally I was about to like bring up with you. Like, it's all about perception as well. Like, I'm doing a course right now, a level 5 in CBT, because I want to take this far and really, like, I've got tons of life experience, but I want a bit of paper as well to back it up. But they said that CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is all about 2 aspects. It's about your perception of things and also your behaviors. And it's so easy, isn't it? Like you've said, like, if something good, even if it's like a small thing, if something good happens, we're so fast to forget it. And then if it's crap, we park there and it's all consumed. It's all we focus on. It's all we speak about, isn't it? So yeah, man.
Without a doubt. I do it with my job. I'll set myself a target, achieve it, and then the second I've achieved it, I'll go, right, what's next? And I'm like, well, no, actually, why don't I take a minute to go give myself a pat on the back? Do you know what I mean? I never do, but I should, because you deserve it. Like, you owe it to yourself almost. Do you know what I mean?
As little as it sounds, I started a new job, as I said, and I've got this like little book, like, and I filled it all the jobs that I do, and I've like done like 5 pages already of jobs. I've been going like actually on the floor and out on the streets for about 4 weeks, and I've just been smashing them out. And today it's gone a bit quiet because my beat has gone quiet, and it's like starting to look nice, And so I'm there like twitching, like going, oh, right, what's next? And then feeling guilty because I'm not as busy, and like starting to criticize and think, oh, and then sat there in the office doing a bit of paperwork, but then not actually embracing the fact, Rory, you've freaking worked really hard and you've made a class start and you're doing well, rather than feeling guilty because I'm not inundated with work.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. It must just be human nature almost to think that way. Like, I think it's crazy sometimes. But I think maybe as you get older with experience, you can understand it a little bit better. Because I was as a kid, I was even worse. Like, I was even worse. I was 100 miles an hour.
Rising around.
Yeah.
But yeah, viewers, what we want to say, our encouragement, me and Ali are saying right now, is reward yourself, even if it's tiny. Hey, today I was at lunch and I was just going to get myself a cheap little nasty meal deal, but my mate said, oh, let's get a burger. Oh, come on now. I was thinking about that triple cheeseburger at McDonald's, and then I went, no. We went to this proper nice burger establishment. It's like independent business. Can't remember the name of it. Like, it's freaking unreal. And I went double with the patties, smashed out mozzarella sticks, and I thought, I'm doing it. I'm treating myself because it's Friday and I've worked really hard. So reward yourself. Only to find out that I used my missus' card, and then she texts me saying, "You've bought yourself a burger," and I was like, "You're the freaking control room." She's like, "I see everything." Oh, the blessings of being married. But yeah, she's awesome. But what I wanted to do, and we're having a bit of a laugh now, and making light heart of it, of some real tough subjects. But I saw a tweet that stood out to me this week. It's World Suicide Prevention Day, as I said. And one guy, I don't know if you heard of David Cotterill. He's an ex-footballer, Welshman, and he is a massive advocate for mental health, Ali. And he put a post about how he attempted suicide 3 times while playing at the Blues at Birmingham City. And this guy, who's a Villa fan, went, "Yeah, I'm not surprised you wanted to top yourself playing for him." And you're like, so Cotterill replied and put, "Oh yeah, nice banter or something, you clown." And I just thought about that tweet, and I thought, do you know what? That epitomizes a lot of blokes. Not that every bloke would put that tweet, but on the area of banter. So before we close, I want to just like pocket banter and stuff, because this is very important, I think, for us men. Like, we do try and make light of dark or heavy situations by having a bit of banter. But I don't know, like, where would you say you should draw the line on banter and stuff like that?
Such a tough one. Like,
Yeah,
I think from two angles, you've got, like, I think if you were being in a male dominated environment like football, or I don't know, like a sport that like predominantly is played by males, or a male dominated industry, or it can get boisterous. There's a lot of testosterone flying around. There's a lot of ego,
yeah,
a lot of ego, and obviously banter takes place. But I think, I don't know. I think there's always a right and a wrong, isn't there? Like, I think generally as people, we know what's right and we know what's wrong.
yeah,
And I think, and you can always tell by how someone reacts to what's been said, how they feel about what's been said. So first, I'd probably say that for me personally, I feel like I've got a good gauge of what's right and wrong,
got you.
and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And if it gets personal and if it gets nasty, then obviously there's no place for it.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
it's also knowing the people that you're bantering with. Like, it's like you'll know people who you can go to the extremes with, and they've got, like, it's not going to bother them, or you think it don't bother them. But then there's people who, you don't really go there with, because you think, right, he's he's not going to take that well.
Yeah,
But then I'd just always urge to, even if you think you know them and you think they can tolerate a lot, still try and be there on that line of what's right and what's wrong.
yeah, 100%.
And yeah, because I've obviously grown up in football changing rooms all my life. I've seen things that are right, I've seen things that are wrong.
Oh, frick.
I think if you've got a strong group of people, strong group of friends, and you've got people in there who go, hold on a minute, that's not right, then obviously you've got a good friends group. If you've got people in there who don't speak up when things are wrong, then I don't know, maybe they're not so good friends. Maybe it's that. I don't know. I'm classed as the boring one amongst my mates.
Oh, mate, no
Yeah,
way.
I'm always the one that goes, no.
Come on, lads. You rein it in. Rein it in.
Rein it in now. Or, like, if you're got, like, when you used to, I don't know, maybe you got to have a drink and you play those drinking games, or if your glass is in your right hand and you got to drink it, and I was just like, no, I'm not drinking it.
Oh, mate.
I'm 34 years old, and I'm a man, and I do what I want. Like,
I do what I want.
you're not telling me what. Do you know what I mean? And I
Make
think
me.
that as well. Like, it's
Make
almost,
me.
make me drink it. Like,
Come on then.
34.
Take this outside. Go on, video.
But I don't know. Like, it's such a. I've been in a dressing room when it's not been nice. And I think, and I've been on the receiving end of it.
Yeah.
When I was a younger player, I remember it really well, actually. Like, it felt like it was every day was pick on alley day.
Yeah.
And for me, I was the kind of guy who just I tolerate, and it was getting to me. I remember it really well. And then one day I just lost it. I'm like, I'm ready to fight the world. And it shouldn't have got to that point.
No.
Because, and that's, but then having lived that experience, when I've seen it since, and it's been aimed at someone, and I don't think it's right, I'll stop it, because I remember how I felt when it happened to me.
Good on you, man.
And again, it just comes back down to the individual, and it comes down to the group. Usually, banter happens in a group, doesn't it? So
yeah,
if you've got a good group,
well, unless there's a instigator, the one that's leading it all. Like, I remember. I don't want laughing. It's minging. I remember I was washing my hair out in America on my soccer scholarship, and one of the Irish lads, like, I didn't know what it was at the time, but I felt this really warm like pressurized small bit of water hitting me in the side of the leg. And I was like, what is that? Like, it just like was hit, like this small thing was just like constant. I was like, what is that? Has the shower gone wrong? So like that, and I opened my eyes. And then one of my teammates just stood there like this, like wazzing on me. And I'm like, oh, I was like, you dirty git. It was freaking feral. But just, mate, when you're washing your hair, always have your back covered. Shower rule 101, that is.
That wouldn't have gone down very well with me.
Yeah. It was minging, but I did laugh because I'm like, it's being washed away. It's on the side of my leg. It's constant water.
That's my point, though. It's like, that's something that if they knew you and you were tolerant of, it was acceptable.
Yeah.
Like,
that was a real borderline, though. That was borderline.
Yeah, very. In my opinion.
Oh, shoot. I won't ask you who's longest in the shower at Leeds, but like Soccer AM. But yeah, mate, it's such a tricky one, isn't it? And I think we've still got to have it, because we've got to make light of the situation. We had a lad, without describing too much, we had a lad on a certain WhatsApp group taking a mick because we were mentioning mental health and stuff out of nowhere. And then like the shadow stuff came up, and it was actually bantering about that and saying how miserable it is and all this lot. And like, I was like, all right, mate. Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, you might be all right, but some people aren't, sort of thing. I was like, shoot. So yeah, it's just like trying to balance, because he's all into his banter life. So very tricky. But yeah, man, when you did well, I put you on the hot seat there, big time. So yeah, just want to say before we go, I'm really grateful because I'm conscious of your time. Just thank you so much for coming on, and yeah, I've been really enjoying slowly as the minutes are ticking, just getting to know you more, and I might have to come visit you sometime, maybe at Leeds or something like that.
Yeah, come on up when the fans are allowed back in the stadium and that, we'll have to sort something out.
I won't get all bummy. I said to P, that's Paolo for the viewer, that I said, oh, I'm gonna have to really like chill myself, because I've been avid Leeds since I was 5 years old, and I was buzzing about this one. I really were, and I was like, hey, I'm not get all like bummy, like go all crazy and cringe him out. So, but I thought I'd slip that at the end there. I'll pop up to Leeds.
Good to be on. Thank you for having me. I think like say, the more you can talk about it and raise awareness, the better. I think for me, like, it can't be spoken about enough. Yeah, it's such an important thing in our society today, and like just keep pushing it out there, keep putting the content out, and keep working hard and making sure that it affects as little people as we can let it affect, because it's not a nice thing.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for your encouragement. And, we want to say to the viewers as well as Ali, like, In Light the Shadows are going nowhere. I've struggled with ill mental health, kept repressed memories for a couple of decades, and thought, I'm fine, manned up and all this lot, and it all just volcanoed. So I want to say to people, don't feel like you have to keep holding it together. There's nothing wrong getting help. I've had therapy myself, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. But we are going nowhere, fellas. We are here for you. We're not the freaking NHS, and we're not specialised, but what we are, we're blokes that get on a level, we talk real, and we're growing in our developments, and we're looking to reach as many blokes as possible. As I said earlier in the episode, we've got big things coming in Light the Shadows. So until, and it sounds real dark, but until men stop killing themselves, we're going nowhere. We're going to keep on creating this environment like in Light the Shadows, where we create free chats like this, when we bring in amazing people like Ali, who are doing things in life, and he'll speak a bit lower of himself and say, oh, it's no big deal, but the guy's gone places and he's made something of himself. So his advice today, take it on board and apply it to your life. And before we go, we're just going to boost up, as I said early in the episode, click that red button, subscribe to Enlighten the Shadows. I think we're on about 66 or 67, but we've only been going a few months, and I'm just really excited about the potential this going. So the handle coming up on the screen right now for Instagram and Twitter, give us a follow. It's at Enlighten the SH1. But as I say, things are happening. We're going to set up as a CIC, which is a community interest company, before we become a registered charity. Things are in the pipeline. There's a trust called Nicodemus Trust there linking up with us. to get alongside, give us training, supports, and become a charity. They love what we're doing. We're coming on board. I'm meeting with someone from Nottingham Citizens, which is the citizens people in the UK. They love what we're doing. They want to get on board. I've got a think tank next week with head of mental health programs, James Carter in the NHS, who was on for episode 14. So as I say, fellas, we're trying to do our best for you here in Nottingham and across the UK and hopefully across the world. But we ain't going to stop to say. But Ali, mate, thank you so much for today. And yeah, viewers, check out our episodes. They're on our YouTube channel. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks, guys.